Okay, everybody, welcome. Today we have a really special guest. This is Mels from Holland, and he's done an amazing journey on Amazon. He started selling from zero and now has multiple brands doing 8 figures in millions of dollars every year. So welcome, Mels.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it.
And I think everybody who's watching this and listening on the podcast are interested, how was it possible for you to get to this all these 8 figure brands? But let's start. Why did you start selling on Amazon? Why was it that got your attention with Amazon and your interest?
That's an interesting one. It was not such a fancy story. Actually, I had another business in 2012. I started it, and then 2014 came along, and I was taking that business, which is a brick and mortar a business in the jewelry, second-hand jewelry store. I have 2 physical stores in the Netherlands, and I thought, well, maybe we can sell second-hand jewelry online, which was kind of a trial that we had in mind. And then I dove into the industry. So what can I learn from where? And then I stumbled upon a network of people that were selling on Amazon in the United States. And for me, it was like being an entrepreneur already for back then, 12, 13 years. The revenue that they did, like $100,000 a month in sales just from their basement or their attic, for me was like, this is either bogus or too good to be true or whatever. But, it sounded too good to be true. So I thought there's only one way to prove it's not possible, to just try it. Yeah. So I tried, and then I had a goal in 2014. That was the year that I started. I told myself, like, if I can sell for $10,000 in 2014, this will be a success, and I'm going to continue with this. So it was a side hustle. I started somewhere in April, May 2014. In September, end of September, I sold my first product on Amazon, the US. And then by the end of the year, I had $100,000 in revenue. So It was 10 times as what I expected. And then I thought, okay, I'll probably continue with this. So I had the other business, still have it, but focused on this. And since then, it was a ride up into like new heights after new heights. I had a goal for 2015. I said, well, maybe it's possible to sell for $1 million, and it was $2.4 million. So since then, I stopped actually making those goals because we overshooted them time after time. But that was actually the ride that we've had. And since then, everything, did change. A lot of things changed on Amazon, and we changed along the way. And but yeah, it's still like a fantastic ride. And although stuff got harder over the years, we learned a ton of things, made our own tools and strategies of how to actually compete against the bigger brands, and it's still working wonders. And that's how we help like a bunch of other brands today to do exactly the same. So, but that's a short version of my ride, Carl.
Yeah. And that's amazing. We will talk a little bit about the tools and the help you have. But one question I think a lot of people is wondering is the magic number. How quick from where you started until you reached $1 million in sales would you think? How long did it take?
Less than a year. It was less than, I think it was, we started in September. Then we had December was $50,000 just in December 2014. And then we thought like maybe January will fall off, but January was even more. So I think, I'm not actually sure. I think it was $1 million. I think it was by April, May, June the next year that we did that. So it was less than, I think, less than a year. I think it was a year, a little over a year from the time that we found out about something called Amazon. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a quick ride, and that's amazing. So, what would you say? I mean, now when you have these multiple brands selling for 8 figures and more, and you also have a tool we're going to talk about, and you help other people actually to reach these heights. What would you say what's the success factors according to you to really succeed on Amazon and to reach to these levels?
Well, it depends. It depends. I mean, success is not something that's that's randomly picked to give to some people. To be honest, it's something you have to work for. And if you do it correctly, like, understand the market, understand the industry, and you do the step-by-step process that are needed and required, I think everybody can do it, but it requires skill. Like anything that you do, if you try to learn something new, if you never have been in the kitchen and you try to bake a cake, the first time you fail miserably. At least I would, and I cannot bake cakes at all. But it's not that I don't have interest. If I want to do that, I have to try and try and try and educate myself on the topic. And then, after learn from the masters in the industry, if I do that right, I can do it and I will be successful. Of course, there's still talent involved and, natural habits, natural talent involved. But I think skill can be learned. Anyone can learn it. It just, are you dedicated enough to do it?
Exactly.
So is that an answer to your question?
It's oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I also like one thing you said in the beginning there, the skill in doing it correctly, because I think on Amazon you have to do it correctly, right? Because otherwise you fail, and still there is so many doing it incorrectly, which is a bit interesting.
Absolutely.
So with that said, what do you think for most Amazon sellers? What would you say is the biggest challenge for an Amazon seller in today's Amazon climate?
Find the right products that outperform your competitors. I think that's the hardest part to learn, right? Because, and I think what most people fail at the moment. I mean, if you look back, we come from this time, and I'm talking about 2014. Those were 2014, 2015, 2016, 17. Those were the golden ages of Amazon sellers, right? Yeah. You could basically have any product, slap a label on it, put it on Amazon, had some gimmicks and tricks added to it, and you were actually selling millions, right? But those days are gone. So right now, it's not that it's impossible to do, but just the rules changed. And what I see happening is that a lot of people and a lot of gurus, they still teach the old habits. And the old habits are not working any longer, or will not work any longer, because we see it changing. So what you have to do right now is, find the right products that are the right market fit, and that's still being able, you're still able to do that by applying the right strategies and step-by-step processes in order to get there. It requires a little bit more time, but I think, especially in today's industry, with all the older sellers still applying those older strategies that are fade to work. I mean, you have a serious advantage if you do those things right. And that's what we teach to like our clients as well. We tell them, like, how should you do it? What kind of tools can you use to read the minds of your consumers, to know prior to you selling what they actually like, dislike, and want to have in certain products. So you can actually, from a product development standpoint, you can already improve your products to win the customer. So I think we are in this pivot in time, so to speak. We have the old age of Amazon sellers, and then we call that the MySpaces of the industry, and the Yahoo of the industry. I mean, everybody knows what happened in the early days. MySpace was taken over by Facebook, then Google took over Yahoo, and we are in kind of a similar switch where the old people it will be harder and harder as per the old strategies. So they have to adapt in order to survive. But that's good for the newbies because they can already adapt and start with learning those new strategies without all that old knowledge in their backpack. So they can just start from fresh and from scratch. And I think that's a real advantage.
Yeah, and I love that because, as you said, there is so many doing the old strategies, and that makes the ones doing the right strategies, which you will talk a little bit about on a conference. We're coming to that, and I think that's just great because it gives an opportunity even in a competitive landscape. So before we go into your topic as a keynote speaker on the amaNordic, you, of course, I mean, we talked a little bit about you're helping others with Amazon data. You have a tool. You diversified into something new. So just a short breakdown. What made you see that, okay, there is something missing here, or why did you start your in Tel Aviv? I mean, I guess we can tell all that's listening the name. So just a short breakdown before we go into what the Tel Aviv actually does for the Amazon seller.
Well, what it does is a lot of things, and we touch on that on the event. What led us into this creation of tooling is not because we want to make tools and sell it, so to speak. It was more there were so many tools out there, And all the tools did some things good to a certain extent. And then we found out that, but it's this for us, it's not enough. We are like data geeks. We want to understand our customer better. We see anomalies in the things that from the data perspective to what we actually put into a product. So we want to understand. And that understanding led us to, hey, let us try some things out. So we created our own tool sets. We gathered a bunch of people around us. And then we started using our tooling, and it was working wonders back then. And then we, like some of our friends, and I think you were one of them, Carl, found out that what we were doing and said, hey, can we use this tooling as well? And then it was like a very small kind of software as a service that was created. We had a mastermind around it, and that was like a close group where we actually, improved the whole thing. And that close group of people, they grew together like over $1 billion in yearly sales over the last 4 years. So it was quite a ride, and it shows you like how successful the tooling and also the strategies are. But what we found most important is to understand our customer, and actually to understand our customer prior to selling, because everybody knows how to A/B test, right? On any platform. But there's a caveat to that, because you need to have traffic. And then together with that, you need to have a cold start launch where you don't have traffic and you want to start good right out of the gate. And I can talk about that on the event as well. Like anybody that's along on Amazon for a while knows something called the honeymoon period. Well, you want to use that honeymoon period as good as possible. So you need to come out of the gate with the best image, the best title, the best listing, that where your certainty that actually converts best. You have the highest CTR click-through rate possible. So you come in, you conquer, and you have high sales like from the start. So that's what we said it's needed for us, and that's how we build our own brands along among that strategy. For us, it's like we live and breathe in our brands and companies. We live and breathe those strategies, and that's what we want to teach the others, because we see with this pivot coming in the industry that it's necessary. And I'm also sure that not everybody will adapt. Like some people will not follow, and they probably will fall off in the next 2 years. And I believe we are looking. I believe, and we are looking forward to meet those new group of people that actually understand this and master those new skill sets, because that's where the future is. But that's also why we created the tooling, and now where we are like putting it out in the mainstream, so to speak, because we had a close group of people that were the user first, and now we open up to like a bigger group of people. And the reason is because we want to be among the people that actually master those new types of skills, and actually can feed us with new ideas and new tricks and tactics, and also with data, so we can help each other and grow into the future. So that's
absolutely
a longer version than a short answer, Carl. Sorry for that, but
it
is an answer.
No problem. I love it. And that's great. And I mean, 𝒕𝒕𝒂𝒏 has helped. I mean, both my private label brands and of course we are utilizing it for our agency. So I can really write under everything you're saying. One thing I just, without, I mean, destroying any surprise for your speech, but you talk about the honeymoon period, which is important, and you want to know already before you launch that it will work. But I also remember from your presentation in Cabo, you also mentioned implementing these strategies that you will talk about at the event, how that can increase the percentage in sales quite dramatically. Would you just say something about that?
Sure. Yeah. Because if we apply the strategy to older products, what we talked about in Cabo, Mexico as well. I mean, previously it was very hard to have an old product that was not selling so well to get it and sell great. So, and then we applied the strategies to several old products that were kind of dead in the water. We didn't focus on those products for a while. And then we say, okay, now we have those new strategies. Let's apply it to those older products. And then we got products that were selling 20 units a day. We got them to over 280 units a day in sales in one single week. So
it's amazing.
It involved like a lot of changes on the listing and a lot of perception changes. But the good thing is we were able to do that just with the toolings that we have, and by applying the right strategies. And I think it's not working for every product, but if the product comes through a certain kind of qualification test that you can do by yourself, and then you see that the data that comes out is good, you can tweak it up to a point where you can actually almost be certain upfront that this product will actually improve a lot. So you can use this on new products, which is best, obviously, but you can also do it on like older established products that are not selling so well and take them to the next level. So absolutely, you can do that. Yeah.
I love that. And I think that's wonderful, because I think also there will come a lot of Amazon sellers that have products that for different reasons never took off. And I think listening to you and implementing what you say will actually help them a lot. So that would be super interesting.
And to be honest, Carl, we also see that a lot of sellers are selling products that are not good. I mean, they just have like Me Too products, like slap a label on it, like anybody else is doing it, selling it for the same price. I mean, those are old strategies not working anymore. You need to have something unique added to your product. And if you know what it is, what it should be, which you can find out with the toolings that we give and also the strategies that we apply, you can actually find out what it is, and you can come out of the gate doing it from the start, right? But it might also turn out that some products you have and you're trying to pull out of the water, you have to drop. But it's even better to know that whatever you do, you will never sell them, and then stop doing it and try something else, because now you're wasting your time investing time and energy in something like what we call a dead horse. Like, right? Yeah. That's a Dutch saying. I'm not sure if they know that in Sweden, but
no. We have the same in Sweden here. Yeah. So I mean, you could literally say, if I can phrase it like this, what your strategy and tool is doing is actually giving a sort of blueprint of what will work and not work when it comes to the products on Amazon, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, kind of a blueprint. You have to do it yourself and follow the right steps, and is education involved as well? But absolutely. I mean, the philosophy that we teach and the philosophy that we educate will give you a completely different understanding of the market and how to harvest the information that is available, so you can actually utilize it into your products. And we actually have step-by-step process that help you to get there, from the harvesting point to also the implementation part. Exactly.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about the event. So I mean, we are of course honored to have you as a keynote speaker, and I mean, I know the quality of what you deliver on stage. So I'm already amazed on behalf of everybody that's coming. So that's going to be great. So just to summarize, why should an Amazon seller living in the Nordic region come to the event and listen to you? If you can give some bullets of why they should attend.
I don't know. It's up to them if they like it. Well, I think that we know a thing or two about how to sell on Amazon, and we're working with the top sellers in the industry, and all the time that we speak, they listen. So yeah, I think that the stuff that we say is resonating with them. The other thing is that we have, over the last couple of years, we know so much about the Amazon algorithms and also where Amazon is going, where I didn't find any sparring partner up until now in the industry that were as knowledgeable as we are. Not to brag about myself, but we read basically, well, it's a regular task for us to read and study all documentation coming from Amazon, coming from people that work at Amazon, that scientific documents about machine learning algorithms, artificial intelligence when applied for e-commerce search and e-commerce ranking algorithms. And we did it over the last couple of years. And the way that we did it and the way that we interpret it, we've been able to predict where the algorithm is going, where Amazon is going as a whole with their strategies. And 3 times in a row, it was exactly spot on. After a year after that, things did change, and we could actually prove it backwards. And that gave us like a lot of credibility in the industry. Of course, among this small group of high-level sellers. But yeah, I think that's also valuable for people that start out. I mean, we know where things are going. At least we have good assumption that seems to be very close to reality when you look a year in the future. Also, we have tremendous amounts of data that we scrape from Amazon every single day, where, well, I can talk for hours about those elements, but I think those are reasons. And, we're able to, with that in mind, to predict where Amazon is going. And so what sellers should do in order to adapt and in order to stay ahead of the game. So yeah, it's for the listeners themselves to interpret it and to use it. The only thing we can do is preach, right? We can preach the news, and that's what I love to do, and what I'm willing to do for you and for the group as well. So yeah, is that reason enough? I don't know. People decide for themselves, but that's all I can say.
It is. Yeah, I love that answer. So if I would summarize what you just said, if the attendees listening to you will get pole position on Amazon, and then it's just, of course, up to them to put gas in the tank and to steer the car. But they will have the chance to start the race in front and not in the back.
That's a nice analogy. Exactly.
Thank you so much for joining the Amazon podcast, and we're looking forward to meet you at amaNordic 7th to 8th of October in Sweden. So everybody who's listening and watching this, don't miss Mels, because this is a once in a lifetime thing that he's going to come and preach here in Sweden. So don't miss